All right, big dog.
There
I think
we go.
we're in live. All
That's
right.
it.
So welcome. Right. This is the 2DOWN1OVER podcast. We are launching this. We're super excited, super pumped about this. Me and Matt been holding on to this for a while, and finally we got back to action, and we want to release some fire. So we started up, right, Matt? What you think, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. We didn't talk about it for a while, like you said, and yeah, so it's been push back, and we keep getting ideas about it. And now I think we're ready to rock. I think the energy's right.
Absolutely, and I think the people out there are going to be excited to hear from us. You know, our objective is to bring value and have a platform, so we have a voice, and we speak to the people. Right? We want to motivate, inspire, give stories, and give some tools and skills so they can be successful, you know?
Yeah, I think like through our lives, we've had a lot of growth, a lot of opportunities to grow, and situations that forced us to grow, and you know, we've had great teachers, great insights from different sources, and now it's just that time to give back.
That's it, man. That's it. So again, 2DOWN1OVER. I mean, some of you are probably thinking about what's this title, right? Like, how did we come up with the title of the show? And I think that was an important thing for us is, hey, what we gonna name the podcast, right? Like, what is our baseline here? What do we want to come off as? And I'm gonna let Matt jump in on this because a lot of it came from his back end. So I want you to speak on what does 2DOWN1OVER mean.
So basically, like jumping back a little bit, like Josh and I are big. If you know us, you know, one of Josh's mottos is "Get your mind right," and it's really speaks a lot to how we think, and 2 down, 1 over. We came up with that, and that was from my high school basketball coach, and it's something that I've remembered years and years and years, and has always stuck by me. But whenever he saw somebody diving on the ground or a big time effort play, he'd always refer to that as 2 down, 1 over. And it wasn't like I can't teach you this. This is 2 down, 1 over. Like you got to do it, and you got to believe that you could do it. And you know, you see these big time effort plays, or you know, somebody makes a steal, and you know, whatever it is. So basically, like when he would talk about it, he would point at his head, then he would point at his sternum, and then he went over to his left a little bit. And he said 2 down and 1 over, and he, you know, said your heart is on your left side.
For the viewers, show us what
so
is
like,
that?
You know, 2 down, okay, 2 down and 1 over, because that's where your heart is. I guess your heart's a little bit more central now, and that's, you know, but we always believed that. So it was all about heart. It was all about like getting the most out of everything you do, and I took that a lot in my whole life. Like I've always thought about that, 2 down, 1 over, and I've continued to say it to people that I coach and people that I deal with on a daily basis. And really, it means like, you know, giving more, or giving 100% in everything that you do, and no matter what it is, you know. And that's how it translates to me, and I think it goes well with Josh, because Josh is always talking about getting your mind right. And I think it just really like links up well together. And, you know, we talked about a lot of different topics, or a lot of different names for what we're going to call this thing. And that's what we landed on. And it just really kind of like describes what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
And you know what, Matt, to be honest with you, I never heard of it. Right. So when it was said, I didn't know what it means. And I'm sure there's people out there that don't, you know what it means either. So, you know, as Matt touched on, get your mind right was the motto, right? It's in our gym, Fame Strength, get your mind right. And that was always for me is like, hey, if your mind's right, you can make anything happen, right? So that could be with whether it's in the gym, whether it's in sports, whether it's in life and business. You know, when the mental, you know, you have that aligned, you can accomplish a lot. So the 2 down, 1 over was very similar when you broke it down to me. And you know, I was like, man, you know what? I like that. And that's kind of how we got to the name of 2 down, 1 over, because it's just the birthplace of what we, both of us, right, have become successful in how we move through life. There's the motto of this theme of 2 down, 1 over, or get your mind right. So I think it's fitting for what we're looking for and what we want to kind of drop out there. So moving on with the topic and the title of this podcast is we want to find people and we want to relate our experiences of moments of that, right? Correct, yeah. Matt? Like, how can we do that, you think?
Well, I think talking about our own experience too, and there's, when you want to grow, you're going to find a way. And I think, like, for me in my life, I've wanted to grow as a person. I wanted to grow professionally, as a basketball player when I was younger, as a coach. I always want to do that, and I think that you find a way. And I've listened to different podcasts, different books on self-help, on business and building, and I've just got some great insights to things that have helped me grow as a person, help me get where I'm at today, and to continue to help me and continue to grow from that. And we also are lucky because we're surrounded by a lot of great athletes and great people that are doing great things, and we could easily get insights from them as well. 100%.
And for those who don't know, I'm Josh Mason. This is Matt Flanagan's. We have a gym called Fame Strength, and we have 2 locations, and the big part of this is our experiences within the gym, dealing with our athlete members and our adult members. So something like this is we're looking for to add value to people's lives. So we'll have, you'll notice we'll have a lot of experiences that we connect to our members and people that we're watching out there. A great thing is having this platform, right, and being responsible with what we're putting out there, and our goals of what we're putting out there. And, I take a lot of responsibility in having a platform like this and speaking to, the youth, right, because a lot of people, especially in our gym, we train a lot of kids, just what they hear and what they see. And then obviously for our adults, somewhat of our peers, things that they may be struggling with that we can kind of bring to light and help and add tips and strategies to enhance their lives. So I'm super excited of some of the topics that we're going to be touching on as we move through this. This being our first podcast, again, this goes to show we didn't have everything ready to rock for this. We don't have, the glitz and glam to this. It's me and Matt said, hey, listen, we got everything that we need. Let's move forward, and we're going to adjust as needed as we go along. And I think that's a lesson in itself, because there's people out there that want to do things or accomplish things that are waiting for the perfect, right? The perfect. Well, I still need this and I still need that, and I'm gonna wait till then, and usually it never gets done. So my advice in that sense is like, hey, listen, whatever you have ready to roll, do it, push it out there. You can adjust and assess as you're going, but if you hold off, 9 times out of 10 it usually never gets done or put out there. So I think this is a great example of us just saying, hey, listen, it's time to roll. We don't have it all figured out. We're not in the podcast game. We don't, have the experiences with the technology and the computers or whatnot, but we're just going to throw it out there,
Yeah, that's it. A lot of things that we've done. I mean, we anticipated a lot of mistakes.
Sure.
And, even opening the gym and everything that we've done together or individually, we've made a lot of mistakes, but we've learned that that's a good thing, and that's kind of how you get there. And like Josh said, like, fear is going to hold you back, and there's no perfect time, and that's why we said, we have everything that we need to start this, so let's give it a shot. And if you stay with us for a while, I think you're going to know that we'll probably get better as we go along, and that's what we're anticipating.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great ride. And you mentioned something about fear, right? So, I think fear is a word and a concept that lives with everyone. And I think when you talk about success, right? And I think success is subjective, right? For everyone. So I think fear is a big component that kind of holds people back and stops them from moving forward, because it could be the fear of, right? So the fear of people won't accept it, the fear of people won't like it, the fear of failing, right? The fear of, and I think for me personally is there has to be a moment where you remove that, right? Where you have to remove the fear. And the thing that I've learned is that a lot of times fear is a false narrative and fear is fake, right? Because it's all kind of the mental thing of what you're thinking. So it goes down to get your mind right? 2 down, 1 over. fear is false. So don't feed into that. You got to kind of bypass that. What's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, even, give you an example, like even today, I was a little nervous. I've never been on a podcast. I've never done anything like this, but I know that you have to go towards the fear. And that's how you break those walls down is you go towards it. And I've learned that in my life where I've been afraid of something, and I've had great people that have watched my back, and you go towards that and you realize that it's just an illusion. And it's, I've heard different acronyms like false evidence appearing real, and, different things talking about how fear holds back talent. Fear is going to hold back that success. And it's an illusion that we create in our heads, and that, that society has created, or, we talk about social media, or, all these different things that help us create this fear. So, we've kind of learned to go through that.
Yeah. And there's a quote that comes to mind, and I'm sure a lot of people heard it, was, be comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's so true, man. Like, I can touch on so many experiences in my life where it felt uncomfortable, or like you said, you were so nervous for something to happen. But what I've learned is whenever that sensation comes by, you have to go chase it. You have to go to it. Like, I know when I had opportunities presented to me, and they were big and they seemed exciting. But then what would start to happen is, like, the nervousness or the doubt would start to settle in as close as you got closer to that event or that opportunity, and you start to talk yourself out of it, or you start to make excuses of not to do it. And what I've learned is, like, when that appears mentally, right, when you start to feel that way, that's when I know I have to do it. Like, that's when I know I have to do it, because here's why. The secret in that is there's going to be growth. When you feel uncomfortable, when you feel unsettled and nervous about something or doing something, usually there's growth on the other side. And that is huge. Like, because once you come off of that other side, you're going to realize the growth, what happened to you, right? Whether that's advancing you in business, in life, in sport, or whatever. But chase that uncomfortable, right? Like, that, you want to go towards that because there's growth on the other side.
Yeah, that's well said. I could totally relate to that. And I try to share this a lot, like comfort zones are where dreams go to die.
Yeah.
And it's held, you always hear people, man, I wanted to do this, and it just, like you said, like, the excuses come out, and you've talked yourself out of it a million times, and continue to talk yourself out, and you get comfortable talking yourself out of it, and then you convince yourself it's okay. And it's like, it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay, because you're not going to grow. And like Josh said, you got to chase that.
That's it, man. That's it. And the one thing that I always think about, especially when it comes to that motto, get your mind right, is that we live with two voices in our head, right? We live with a weak voice, and we live with the strong voice. And, when I'm talking to individuals, even my kids, I always say, like, the weak voice is louder, right? And that strong voice is smaller. But you have to learn how to mute that weak voice. So there's small wins that happen in your life, or small victories that diminishes that voice, right? Or whether it's you fighting back to it. And, a simple statement is like, hey, when you silence your weak voice is when you get your mind right. Is when you get your mind right, because whatever you're doing, you always have the weak voice saying why you shouldn't do it, or putting the doubts and the concerns in. And usually it's loud for some folks. And once you have the ability to kind of silence that, like, that's when I think the magic happens for you. And as a person, you grow and you develop that strength and that confidence, because now when that creeps in, it's so easily swiped out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like that. That's the first time I actually heard you say that, or really heard of that. But that's so true. And in me, that both of those voices are there. Yep. And I know that, like, that weak voice is very loud, and I think I've had some success, and still like it's still loud, but I just know, like, I know what's on the other side.
Push the mic closer. Yeah, just so the people can hear you.
All right, test. Good.
Yeah.
I know what's on the other side, but there's so often that I doubt something or do fear something, or that voice is telling me I don't do it, or I try to talk myself out of it, but I know I'm going to be disappointed in myself if I don't do it, or if I don't go through with the plan or walk through that fear. And so, like, yeah, that's really been my experience, and I've learned to tackle that, and that, the strong voice is there, and I think it does get stronger, but the weak voice is still there. Like, it's still like, for me, I don't know if it'll ever go away, but through my experience, I know that it's, like we talked about earlier, it's an illusion. It's it's just false. Like, it's just false, and I know that I got to push that to the side and get through it and walk through that.
Yeah.
And
And the beauty of it is, when you do take on those opportunities, we understand you're not always going to be successful, right? Like, that's the beauty of it. Like, you're not always going to be successful, but regardless, you learn and you grow. And I think that's where people really need to take that on, is because you might not win. You might not be successful in that, taking on that opportunity, and you pushed yourself, past the comfort stage, but it's okay. Like, you're going to learn now. You're going to grow, and it's going to make it the approach much better and much more effective. So that's, regardless, you have to have that understanding and be able to say, oh, that's okay. You know what? It didn't work out the way I planned it. And don't fall victim to, man, see, I told you it wouldn't work. Look at this. No, you look at, what can we do better? Right? How do we adjust this so this is successful? What do we need to do differently? And I think when you shift your mind to that approach, you're going to become successful no matter what it is. And it may take 5 takes. It may take months. It may take years. It may take weeks. But it's going to get a point where you're refining it, and you hit it on the mark,
Yeah, that's it. And I'm fortunate enough, I coach high school basketball, and that's one thing that we always talk to these guys about is, we learn so much in losses. We learn so much about ourselves and how we can better ourselves, better our program, better our gameplay, but it's still, it's like that in life too. And that's we'll get into this later, but it's a reason why Josh and I love sports and love our gym, because when we're coaching these kids, we talk about that a lot, and how much you do learn from losing, and not only just losing, but putting all your effort in and then taking a loss. And like Josh said, like that mindset shift, like, well, what can I do better? Or how can I come out of this next time with a win? Or, that's the mindset. That's that growth mindset that you're looking for. And that's you're gonna be successful. You're gonna find success somehow, some way, when you learn to think like that.
Yeah, totally, man. And I always try to push that to, my kids, the athletes we train, the adults we train, is, keep going, right? Keep going. It's like, why live your life in fear, right? Why not attempt things, do things, learn, grow? That's what I think it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. And I love the quote about, like, you never lose, you learn. And it took a while for me to understand that, because I'm so competitive, and I'm sure, obviously you are too. And it's like, you hate losing. You hate losing. And I think that's something that rings bells with a lot of competitive people. But really, you got to shift it over to, like, you don't lose, you learn, right? And I think that's a huge lesson in itself. And if you attack it that way, you're going to improve and get better. If you attack it the way we lost, and you're just angry, and you're not putting things in place to improve, right? You're not putting things in place to improve. So I think that's a great conversation, Matt, and that's awesome, where we can touch on that and show people, it started with the idea of just having fear, and people not taking that step that they need to accomplish the things that they want to, Yeah. Well, listen, man, I think, this is going to be great. I think we're going to have an awesome time doing this. I think there's a lot of topics that are going to jump off the page, and And again, guys, we're going to go off script, right? Like this is going to be freelance, and we're just going to have conversations that lead us that way. So we're super pumped about it. You're going to get to know me. You're going to get to know Matt. So there's going to be a lot of Q&A with these things. And if you guys have comments or whatnot, please leave them. Let us know what you want to hear. What do you want to talk about? We'll have guests on our show, which is going to be awesome. But at the end of the day, man, we're super happy, super excited to launch this 2 Down, 1 Over podcast. And we want the listeners to be engaged and gain something from this. Right, Matt?
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, that's it, man. We'll come out with schedules and things like that, but we wanted to drop this first one just to get the ball rolling. So hope you guys enjoy your day. Thank you for listening to 2 Down, 1 Over podcast. I'm Josh. This is Matt, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you.